नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स. So today we are going to read a very important sutta, very famous and very popular sutta. This is called Mangala Sutta.
I think we lost connection. We'll wait.
Can you listen to me now?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, बीच में शायद कनेक्शन टूट गया था. Okay. So this is Mangal Sutta. Evam me sutam. So I have heard. So this is the most popular sutta. What is the origin of this sutta? It is said that in Jambu Dvipa, at the city gates, in the council halls, and in assembly rooms, multitudes associated assembled and paid minstrels to relate various entertaining tales, such as the story of the abduction of the Sita, etc. Each talk would conclude after 4 months. One day, a discussion about blessings arose. What now is a blessing? Is what is seen a blessing? Is what is heard a blessing? Is what is sensed a blessing? Who knows what a blessing is? The one man named Seen Blessing said, I know what is a blessing. What is seen is a blessing in the world. The seen is a form considered auspicious. For instance, someone here rises early and sees a talking bird, or a belua creeper, or a pregnant woman, or children dressed up and adorned, or a full pot, or a fresh red fish, or a thoroughbred horse, or a chariot of thoroughbreds, or a bull, or a cow, or a kapila cow, or any other form considered auspicious. This is called a seen blessing. Some accepted his statement, some did not accept it. Those who did not accept it quarreled with him. Then a man named Herd Blessing said, "The eye, sir, sees what is pure and impure, what is good and bad, what is agreeable and disagreeable. If what is seen by it were a blessing, then everything would be a blessing. Therefore, the seen is not a blessing. Rather, what is heard is a blessing. The heard is a sound considered auspicious. For instance, someone here, having risen early, hears Vaddha or Vaddhaman or Punya or Fussa or Suman or Siri or Sri Vaddha or today the stars are good. It's a good occasion, a good day, good luck, or any other such sound considered auspicious. This is called a heart blessing. Some accepted his statement, some did not accept it. Those who did not accept it quarreled with him. Then a man named Sensed Blessing said, "The ear, sir, hears what is good and bad, what is agreeable and disagreeable. If what is heard by it were a blessing, then everything would be a blessing. Therefore, the heard is not a blessing. Rather, what is sensed is a blessing. The sensed is an odor, taste, or tactile object considered auspicious. For instance, someone here, having risen early, smells the fragrance of a flower, such as a lotus flower, or chews on lucky toothwood, or touches the ground, wet cow dung, or turtle shell, a load of sesame seeds, or some flower or fruit, or he anoints himself with lucky clay, or puts on a lucky garment, or wears a lucky turban, or he smells, tastes, or touches any other such odor, taste, or tactile object considered auspicious. This is called a sensed blessing. Some accepted his statement, some did not accept it. The one who took the sin to be a blessing could not convince those who took the herd and sense to be a blessing, and so for the other two. But those people who accepted the statement of the one who took the sin to be a blessing went around saying, "Only what is seen a blessing." And those who accepted the statements of those who took the herd and sense to be a blessing went around saying, "Only what is heard is a blessing. Only what is sensed is a blessing." In this way, this discussion of blessing spread all over Jambudipa. Then the people throughout Jambudipa, gathering in groups, reflected on blessings thus. What is a blessing? Their protective deities heard their discussion and also reflected on blessings. Their friends among the earth deities heard about it from them, and the earth deities too reflected on blessings. Their friends among the sky deities heard about it from them, and the deities ruled by the four divine kings from them. And in this way it continued up until the deities of the Akanithariam heard about it from the Sudasti deities, and they too, gathering in groups, reflected on blessings. Thus, reflection on blessings occurred everywhere throughout 10,000 world spheres. And once it had started, it went on for 12 years. And though it was being determined, this is a blessing, this is a blessing, they did not reach a final decision. All human beings, devas, and Brahmas, exception made of the noble disciples, were divided into three factions according to whether they sided with the seen, the heard, or the sensed. Not even one person could come to a definitive conclusion. Just this is a blessing. And so a commotion about blessings arose in the world. Commotions are of five kinds: commotion about the aeon, commotion about a wheel turning monarch, commotion about a Buddha, commotion about blessings, and commotion about manhood. Here, when the desires fear devas, with loose headbands, scattered hair, and tearful faces, wiping their tears with their hands, wearing dyed clothes and with disheveled garments, wandering along the path of humans, announce, "After 1 lakh years, the end of the eon will occur. This world will perish, the great ocean will dry up, and this great earth, along with Sineru, king of mountains, will burn up and perish, and world destruction will occur up to the Brahma world, developing loving kindness, dear sons, develop compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity. Attend on your mother and father, respect the elders in the family, be vigilant, do not be heedless." This is called the commotion about the aeon. When those same desires fear devas, wandering along the path of humans, announce, "After 1 lakh years, a wheel-turning monarch will arise in the world. This is called the commotion about a wheel-turning monarch. When the devas of the pure abodes adorn themselves with the ornaments of Brahma, put a turban of Brahma on their heads, and filled with rapture and joy, proclaiming the excellent qualities of a Buddha, wandering along the path of humans, announce, after 1 lakh years, a Buddha will arise in the world. This is called the commotion about a Buddha. When those devas of the pure abodes, having understood the minds of human beings, wandering along the path of humans, announce, after 12 years, a perfectly enlightened Buddha will explain blessings. This is called the commotion about blessings. When those same devas of the pure abodes, wandering along the path of humans, announce, after 7 years, a certain bhikkhu will encounter the blessed one and ask about the practice of munihood. This is called the commotion about munihood. Among these 5 kinds of commotion, when devas and human beings are divided into 3 factions according to whether they hold the seen, the heard, or the sensed to be blessings, this commotion about blessings has arisen in the world. When 12 years had passed, during which devas and human beings had repeatedly investigated this matter without reaching any agreement, the Taotinsa deities come together and consider, dear sirs, the house master is foremost among the residents of a house. A village headman is foremost among the inhabitants of a village. A king is foremost among all the people, and in the same way, Sakka is foremost and chief among us in regard to splendor of merit, authority, and wisdom, and he is the overlord of 2 Deva worlds. Let us ask Sakka about this matter. So they went to Sakka, whose glorious body was dressed and ornamented in ways suitable for the occasion, and who was seated on his throne of yellow marble at the foot of the Parichattaka tree, accompanied by a retinue of 2.5 cotis of nymphs. They paid him homage to Sakka, stood to one side, and said, you should know, dear sir, that a question about blessings has arisen. Some say that the seen is a blessing, some that the heard is a blessing, and some that what is sensed is a blessing. None of us have come to a conclusion about this. Please explain this as it is. Being naturally wise, the ruler of the Devas asked, where did this discussion about blessings and first originate? They replied, we heard about it, Lord, from the deities ruled by the 4 divine kings. They say they heard about it from the sky deities, who heard about it from the earth deities, who heard about it from the protective deities of human beings, and these say it originated in the human world. Then the ruler of the Devas asked, where is the perfectly enlightened one living? In the human world, Lord? Did anyone ask the blessed one? No, Lord. Dear sirs, do you discard a fire and try to get light from a firefly? Thinking that I should be asked about this matter, you have passed over the blessed one, who can point out the nature of blessings without omission. Go, ask the blessed one. Surely we will get a glorious answer to this question. He then commanded one young Deva, you ask the blessed one. That young Deva, having adorned himself in ways suitable to the occasion, radiant as a flash of lightning, accompanied by a group of Devas, then went to the great monastery in Jeta's grove. He paid homage to the blessed one, stood to one side, and in a verse asked the question about blessings. The blessed one then spoke heard, Evam me sutam. The meaning of this has already been stated concisely in relation to the discourse to Kasi Bharadwaj, but those who wish for a detailed explanation should understand it in the way stated in the Papancha Sudani, the Majjhim Nikaya commentary, and where it was said in the discourse to Kasi Bharadwaja, was dwelling among the Magadhans at Dakshinagiri near the Brahmin village Ekanala. Here it is said, was dwelling at Savatthi in Jeta's grove, Anath Pindika's park. Ekan samayang Bhagava Saathyang Vihrati Jetavane Anatha Pindikasa Arame. Here it is said, therefore, starting with the word Savatthi, we will here explain terms not previously encountered. At Savatthi, in the city with such a name, it is said that this was the place of residence of a Rishi named Savatha. Therefore, just as Kosambi was the residence of Kusumba and Kakandi of Kakanda, so by using the feminine gender, this place was called Savathi. But the ancients explain it thus. Whenever there was an encounter of Kauravas in that place, when the question was asked, what goods are available there? They would say, there is everything. Therefore, with reference to this expression, it was called Savathi, means there is everything here. When it is at Savathi, what is indicated is his arms resort. Jeta was name of the prince. The grove that belonged to this Jeta, because it had been planted and cultivated by Prince Jeta, it was called Jeta's grove, Jetavana. The blessed one was dwelling there in Jeta's grove. Anathapindika was so called because he gave alms food to the poor. In Anathapindika's park, in the park constructed by the householder Anathapindika by spending 54 kotis of money for it. This indicates that it was a place of residence suitable for monastic persons. Then a certain deity. This is said without specification because his name and clan are not known. Athako Anyattara Devata. Anyattara Devata means some deity. His name and clan are not known. A deity, Devata, is just Deva. This is a word common to both females and males. But here this young Deva was a male, but he is called a deity by use of the common term. When the night had advanced, Abhikantaya Ratiya means when the night was had advanced. Here the word Abhikanta is seen in the sense of passage of time, good, beautiful, appreciation, and so forth. Here it indicates the passage of time. Hence, what is meant is that the night had passed, the night had gone by, of stunning beauty. He was of stunning beauty. Abhikantavanna. That means he was of stunning beauty. Here, Abhikanta occurs in the sense of beautiful. The word Vanna is seen in the senses of complexion, praise, family, section, cause, shape, measurement, the sense base of visible form, and so forth. Here, what is meant is that he had a stunning complexion, a beautiful complexion. That's why it is called Abhikanta Vannana. Abhikanta Vanna. Kevala Kappam. Entire. Kevala Kappam means entire. The word Kevala has many meanings, such as without omission, for the most part, unadulterated, moderately, firmly, and detachment. Here, the meaning intended is without omission. The word Kappa has many meanings, such as faith, an expression, time, a description, cutting, an alternative, an elevation, and everywhere. Here, the meaning intended is everywhere. Kevala Kappa means everywhere in the Jetavan without any omission. He lightened all the parts of the Jetavan. Okay. Hence, when it is said the entire Jetas grow, the meaning should be seen in this way everywhere in the entire Jetas grow. Having illuminated Obhasetva means he illuminated the whole Jetas grow, having pervaded with light, like the moon and sun, he made it completely radiant, completely bright. Approach the blessed one. Ena Bhagava Tenupasankami means he approached the blessed one. He approached the place where the blessed one was staying, or he approached for the reason that the blessed one is to be approached by devas and human beings. And for what reason is the blessed one to be approached? With the intention of achieving various kinds of excellent qualities, just as a large tree constantly bearing fruit is to be approached by flocks of birds with the intention of enjoying its sweet fruits. Stood to one side. What it is said, Upasankamitva Bhagavantam, having reached the Lord, Abhivaditva, after saluting him, Ekamantam Atthasi, he stood to one side. When he stood to one side, how did he stand? Not behind, not in front, not too close or too far, not in a ditch or against the wind, neither below nor above. Having avoided these faults, he stood to one side. But why did he just stand and not sit down? Because of a wish to return quickly. For when deities come to the human world for a particular reason, they do so like a clean person coming to a latrine. They are naturally repelled by the human world, which is foul smelling to them even from 100 yojanas. They do not enjoy it. Hence, he did not sit down because he wished to return as soon as he finished the task for which he came. Also, people sit down to dispel their fatigue from walking, but the Devas do not have such fatigue. For this reason, too, he did not sit down. Also, he esteemed the great disciples who were standing around the Blessed One. For this reason, too, he did not sit down. Further, he did not sit down simply out of respect for the Blessed One. For when deities wish to sit down, a seat is produced. Since he did not wish for one, he did not even think of sitting, but stood to one side and addressed the Blessed One in verse. Ekamantam thita khosa devata bhagavantam gathaya ajjabhasi. Standing to one side, that deity addressed to the Buddha in verse. Thus, that deity, standing to one side for these reasons, spoke in verse to the Blessed One with a statement that was knit together by metrical syllabus and words. So, what does he say? Bahu deva manussacha, many gods and humans, many and indeterminate number. What is meant is many hundreds, many thousands, many hundreds of thousands. Devas are so called because they shine. The meaning is that they play with the five strands of sensual pleasures or they shine with their own splendor. Devas are threefold by way of convention, rebirth, and purification. As it is said, as to Devas, there are three kinds of Devas: conventional Devas, Devas by rebirth, and Devas by purification. Here, conventional Devas are kings, queens, and princes. Devas by rebirth are those Devas from the realm of the four divine kings upward. Arhats are called Devas by purification. Of these, Devas by rebirth are intended here. Bahudeva Manussacha. Manussacha means human beings. Human beings are the offspring of Manu. But the ancients say human beings are so called because of their prominence of their mind. These are fourfold: the inhabitants of Jambudipa, Appara Goyana, Uttara Kuru, and Pubba Videha. Here the inhabitants of Jambudipa are intended. Beings are blessed by these, hence they are blessings. So he asked the Buddha, Mangalani achintayum. Bahudeva manussacha mangalani achintayum. A lot of devas and human beings, they are thinking about blessings. The meaning is that they will achieve success and progress, longing for safely, desiring well-being. That means akankhamana sothanam. They are longing for safety, wishing for, desiring, yearning for safety, for the existence of all beautiful, excellent, good things pertaining to both to the present life and future lives. Declare the highest blessing. Bruhi mangalam uttamam. Bruhi means you tell us, you declare. Mangalam, the blessings. Uttamam, highest blessings. The cause of success, the cause of progress, the cause of all excellence. That is the highest, Uttamam. So what are the highest blessings? Most distinguished, most excellent, which brings well-being and happiness to all the world. That is the sequential commentary on the terms in the verse. This is the summary of the meaning. With a desire to hear the question about blessings, the deities in 10,000 world spheres had assembled in this one world sphere, having created subtle bodies such that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and even 80 could occupy the space of a mere hair's tip. When that young Deva saw them standing there surrounding the Blessed One, who sat in the excellent seat prepared for him, shining with a glory and splendor that surpassed all Devas, Maras, and Brahmas, the young Deva discerned with his own mind the minds of human beings throughout all of Janbu Dvipa, both on the occasion and those of the future. Then, in order to remove the dart of doubt from the minds of all devas and human beings, he said, longing for safety, desiring a state of safety for themselves. Many devas and human beings have reflected on blessings. So declare the highest blessing. I ask you with the consent of those devas and to benefit human beings. So out of compassion for us, O blessed one, declare the blessing that is highest because it brings exclusively well-being and happiness to all of us. So after this request is made, now the Buddha will tell us the 38 blessings. So first blessing he says, Asevanacha Balanam. Sevana means to associate. Asevana means not to associate. Cha Balanam. Balanam means fools, not associating with fools. Thus, having heard the statement of the young Deva, the blessed one spoke this verse, not associating with fools. Here, asevana, not associating with, not following after, not serving. Fools, they live, they breathe, thus they are fools. The purport is that they live merely by breathing in and out, do not live by wisdom. The wise, who are the wise? They advance, thus they are their wise. The purport is that by the movement of knowledge, they enter the good pertaining to the present life and future lives, associating with, following after, serving, venerating, showing honor, respect, esteem, and homage. Asevanacha balanam, panditanancha sevana. So you should associate with wise. Puja cha pujaneyanam. You should venerate those who are worth to venerate. Etam mangalam uttamam. This is the highest blessing. Those worthy of veneration, but pujaniya, what those who deserve veneration. This is the highest blessing. Combining all these, not associating with fools, associating with the wise, and venerating those worthy of veneration. He says that this is the highest blessing. What is meant is, when you ask state of the highest blessing, accept this as the highest blessing. That is the commentary on the terms of this verse. The commentary on the meaning should be understood as follows. Having heard the statement of the young Deva, the blessed one spoke this verse. Here there are four kinds of talk. A talk given when one is asked a question, a talk given without a question being asked, a coherent talk, and an incoherent talk. A talk given when one is asked a question is one given when asked such question as I ask you, Gautama, one of broad wisdom. How should one act to become a good disciple? And how, dear sir, did you cross the flood? A talk given without a question being asked is one given on his own initiative, without being asked a question, such as what others speak of as happiness, that the noble ones speak of as suffering. Because of the statement, I teach the Dhamma bhikkhus with a basis. All the talks of the Buddhas are coherent. In the teaching, there are no incoherent talks. Of the four, this is a talk given when one is asked a question, since it was spoken by the Blessed One when questioned by the young Deva. And as a clever man skilled in the right path and the wrong path, when asked about the path, would first state which path one should avoid and then which path one should take. In such a place, there is a fork in the road. There one should avoid the left path and take one to the right. So, when asked about things to be cultivated and things not to be cultivated, one first states what should not be cultivated and then what should be cultivated. And the blessed one is like a man skilled in the path. As it is said, the man skilled in the path. Tissa is a designation for the Tathagata and the Arahant, the perfect enlightened one. For he is skilled in this world, skilled in the next world, skilled in the realm of death, skilled in what is beyond the realm of death, skilled in Mara's realm, skilled in what is beyond Mara's realm. Therefore, having first indicated what should not be cultivated, and then indicating what should be cultivated, he said, not associating with fools, associating with the wise. For firstly, one should not associate it with or serve fools who are like the path to be avoided, and then one should associate it with the and serve the wise, who are like the path to be taken. But why, when speaking about blessings, does the blessed one first speak of not associating with fools and associating with the wise? In reply, it is said that by associating with fools, devas and human beings adopt the view that blessings are to be found among things seen, heard, and sensed, things that are not blessings. Therefore, the blessed one first speaks to them of not associating with fools and associating with the wise, criticizing affiliation with those who are not good friends, which is detrimental to one's good pertaining both to this world and the world beyond. Instead, he praises friendship with good friends, which promotes one's good in both the worlds. Here, fools are those beings who enter upon the ways of unwholesome karma, such as the destruction of life and so forth. They can be identified through three qualities. As it is said, because there are the three characteristics that mark a fool. Moreover, the six teachers, such as Puran, Kassap, and such people as Devdatta, Kokalik, Katamorakatissa, Khandadeviya Putta, Samudadatta, the young woman Chincha, and so forth, as well as the brother of Dighavida. These always as other such beings may be understood as fools, as if taking hold of a blazing coal by their own wrong understanding, they destroy themselves and those who follow their advice, like Digvida's brother, who, for the duration of 4 Buddhas, was tortured in hell. His body 60 yojanas in size, rising up and falling down, and like the 500 families that approved of his view, who were reborn in hell along with him, as it is said, because just as a fire that starts in a house made of reeds or grass burns down even a house with a peaked roof, plastered inside and out, draft free, with bolts fastened and shutters closed, so too, whatever perils arise, whatever disaster arise, whatever calamities arise, all arise on account of the fool, not on account of the wise person. Thus, the fool brings peril, the wise person brings no peril. The fool brings disaster, the wise person brings no disaster. The fool brings calamity, the wise person brings no calamity. Further, a fool is like rotten fish, and one who associates with a fool is like a leaf used to wrap rotten fish. Intelligent people find them vile and repulsive, and this is said. One who ties up putrid fish with blades of kusa grass makes the kusa grass also smell foul. So it is in following fools. And the wise Akitti, when offered a boon by Sakka, ruler of Devas, said this: May I never see or listen to a fool, and may I not dwell with a fool, may I not converse with a fool, and may I not approve of one. What has the fool done to you? State the reason, Kassapa. For what reason, Kassapa, do you not wish to see a fool? Then the Kassapa says, the deluded fellow leads one to ruin. He enjoins one in reckless ways. He is hard to guide to the good. Spoken to rightly, he gets upset. He does not know discipline. It is good not to see such a one. Thus, criticizing association with fools from every angle, having said, not associating with fools is a blessing, the blessed one, praising association with the wise, now says, associating with the wise Panditanancha Sevana is a blessing. Here, the wise are those beings who enter upon the ways of wholesome karma, abstinence from the destruction of life, and so forth. They can be identified through three qualities. As it is said, because there are these three characteristics that mark a wise person. Moreover, Buddhas, Pachek Buddhas, the 80 great disciples, and other disciples of the Tathagata, and such people as Suneta, Mahagovind, Vidhur, Sarabhanga, Mahasada, Sutasoma, and King Nimi, these as well as the youth Ayoghar, the wise Akitti, and others may be understood as wise people. These are like guards in time of danger, like a lamp in the darkness, like obtaining food and drink when overcome by the suffering of hunger and thirst. They are able to dispel all the perils, disasters, and calamities of those who follow their advice. Thus, by relying on the Tathagata, countless devas and human beings attain the destruction of the influxes, were established in the Brahma world and the Deva world and were reborn in a good destination. 80,000 families that placed confidence in the elder Sariputta and provided him with four requisites were reborn in heaven. Similarly, in the case of all the great disciples, beginning with Mahamoggalana and Mahakossapa, among the disciples of the teacher Sunetta, some were reborn in the Brahma world, some among the Devas who control the creation of others, and some were reborn in affluent families of householders. And this is said because there is no peril from a wise person, no disaster from a wise person, no calamity from a wise person. Further, a wise person is like a sweet fragrance, such as tagar or a flower garland, and one who associates with a wise person is like a leaf used to wrap such sweet fragrances. Intelligent people find them delightful and worthy of esteem. And this is said, one who ties up tagar with leaves fallen from a tree makes the leaves sweetly fragrant. So it is following the wise. And the wise Akitti, when offered by a boon by Sakka, ruler of the Devas, said thus, may I see and listen to a wise person, and may I dwell together with the wise. May I converse with a wise one, and may I approve of him. What has the wise person done to you? State the reason, Kassapa. What is the reason, Kassapa, that you wish to see a wise person? The wise person follows what is right. He does not enjoin one in reckless ways. He is easy to guide to the good. Spoken to rightly, he is not upset. He understands discipline. It is good to encounter him. Thus, praising in every way, associating with the wise. Having said, associating with the wise is a blessing, the blessed one now says, Puja cha pujaneyanam. Venerating those worthy of veneration. This is the highest blessing. Praising the veneration of those who, by not associating with fools and by associating with the wise, have gradually become worthy of veneration. Here, those worthy of veneration are the exalted Buddhas, who are devoid of all faults and possessed of all excellent qualities. And after them, Pacheka Buddhas and noble disciples. For an act of veneration toward them, even a slight one, leads to well-being and happiness for a long time, as seen in the examples of Sumana, the garland maker, Mallika, and others. Here we will give merely one example. One day it is said, the blessed one dressed in the morning took his bowl and robe and entered Rajgaha for alms. The garland maker Suman had taken some flowers for the king of Magda and was going in that direction when he saw the blessed one, who had arrived at the entrance to the city. He was graceful, pleasing, blazing with the glory of a Buddha. Having seen him, he thought, when the king receives these flowers, he may pay me 100 or 1,000 coins, and that will lead to my happiness merely in this present world. But an offering to the blessed one bears immeasurable and incalculable fruit and brings well-being and happiness for a long time. Let me offer these flowers to the blessed one. Then, with a mind of confidence, he took a handful of flowers and threw them toward the blessed one. The flowers went through space and remained suspended above the blessed one as a garland canopy. Having seen this display of spiritual might, the garland maker became even more confident in the blessed one and threw another handful of flowers. These went and formed a garland curtain. In this way, he threw 8 handfuls, which went and formed a cottage of flowers. The blessed one was within the cottage. A multitude of people gathered. The blessed one looked at the garland maker and displayed a smile, thinking, Buddhas do not display a smile without some reason. Ananda asked about this reason for his smile. The blessed one said, Anand, by the spiritual might of this offering, this garland maker, having ordered in samsara for 1 lakh eons among devas and human beings, will finally become a Pacheka Buddha named Sumanissar. That means in Sanskrit, Sumaneshwar. He will become a Pachek Buddha named Sumaneshwar. At the conclusion of his statement, in order to teach the Dhamma, he spoke this verse. Good is to do that deed, which one does not regret having done, the result of which one experiences pleased with a happy mind. This is a verse from Dhammapada, 68 number verse. At the conclusion of the verse, 84,000 living beings made the breakthrough to the Dhamma. In this way, it can be understood that even a slight act of veneration toward them leads to well-being and happiness for a long time. And if that is the case with veneration by material things, what can be said about veneration through practice, through sadhana? Who will praise the fruit of the veneration offered by those people who venerate the blessed with their own excellent qualities, such as going for refuge, accepting the training rules, undertaking the factors of the uposat, the fourfold purification of good behavior, and other practices. For it is said that they venerate the Tathagat with the supreme veneration. As he said, Anand, the bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, male lay follower or female lay follower, who dwells practicing the Dhamma in accordance with Dhamma, practicing properly, acting in accordance with the Dhamma, honors, reveres, esteems, and venerates the Tathagata with the supreme veneration. Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatya Buddham Pujemi. So, if you practice Dhamma, you are venerating the Buddha. Accordingly, it can be understood that the veneration of the Pachek Buddhas and noble disciples too leads to well-being and happiness. Further, among householders, an elder brother and sister should be venerated by a younger one, the mother and father by their children, and the husband and parents-in-law by a wife. In this way too, those worthy of veneration should be understood. For the veneration of them is a blessing because it is a wholesome quality and a cause for growth in such things as longevity. For this is said, they will esteem their mothers and fathers. They will esteem ascetics and Brahmins. They will respect the elders in the family. They will undertake and practice the wholesome quality. Because they undertake those wholesome qualities, they will grow in longevity, they will grow in beauty, and so forth. Thus, three blessings have been stated by this verse: not associating with fools, associating with the wise, and venerating those worthy of veneration. Here, not associating with fools is a blessing because it protects one from the perils conditioned by associating with fools. Associating with the wise is a blessing because it is a cause for well-being in both this world and the next. And venerating those worthy of veneration is a blessing because it is a cause for a good rebirth and nibbana in the way stated in the commentary on the manifestation of their fruits. From now on, without showing the outline, we will delineate the blessing where it is mentioned and elucidate its nature as a blessing. The commentary on the meaning of this verse, not associating with fools, asevana cha balanam panditanam cha sevana, puja cha pujaneyanam, eta mangal muttamam is finished. Now we'll go for the second verse. Patirupadesavaso cha kata punyata attasamma panidhi cha etam mangalam uttamam. Living in a suitable region. Thus, while with the worlds, declare the highest blessing. The blessed one was asked to state only one blessing. Like a generous person who, when asked for a liter, gives much, he spoke of three blessings in one verse. But because the deities wish to hear still more, and because there exist such additional blessings, and because the blessed one wished to enjoin different things in different kinds of blessings in ways appropriate for them, he again started to speak of numerous blessings with the verses that begin Patirupadesa Vasecha, residing in a suitable place. Here in the first verse, suitable means fitting. Place means any place where beings reside, a village, a town, a city, and a country. Residing, residence there. In the past, earlier in the past verse, Ubbecha Kata Punyata means Ubbecha means in the past, earlier in the past verse. Kata Punyata, merit done, accumulated wholesomeness, oneself, the mind or the entire person is called self. Atta. Atta means the mind or the entire person is called self, directing rightly, right direction, resolution, application of that self, the rest in the way already stated. That is the commentary on the terms. The commentary on the meaning should be understood as follows. A suitable place, Patirupa Deswas, a suitable place, is a place where the four assemblies dwell, where they practice the basis of meritorious deeds such as giving, and where the teacher's ninefold teaching shines, because residence there is a condition for beings to perform meritorious deeds, and it is called a blessing. And an example here is that of the fisherman, etc., who entered Sihal Deepa, Sri Lanka. Another method of explanation. A suitable place is the region where the site of the blessed one's enlightenment is located, the region where he set in motion the wheel of the Dhamma, the region at the foot of Ganda's mango tree, where in the midst of an assembly extending for 12 yojanas, he refuted the opinions of all the sectarian teachers and performed the twin wonder, the place where he descended from the Deva world, and any other region where the Buddha and other noble ones dwelt, such as Savatthi and Rajgaha. Residence there is a blessing because it is a condition for beings to obtain the six unsurpassed things. Another method to explain Patirup Desvaso is to the east, there is a market town named Kachangala, and past it is a Mahasala, beyond which are the border districts. On this side is the middle region. In the southeast, there is a river named Shalavati, beyond which there are border districts. On this side is the middle region. In the south, there is a market town named Setakannika, beyond which are the border districts. On this side is the middle region. To the west is a Brahmin village named Thun, beyond which are the border districts. On this side is the middle region. To the north is the mountain named Usiradhaja, beyond which are the border districts. On this side is the middle region. This middle region means UP and Bihar and some part of Madhya Pradesh. That is called middle region. 300 yojanas in length, 250 in width, and 900 in circumference is also called a suitable place, Patirupa Desavasocha, because Buddha's teachings existed there at that time. And it is here that wheel-turning monarchs arise, exercising sovereignty over the four continents and their 2000 islands. And it is here that great disciples such as Sariputta and Mahamoggalana arise, after having fulfilled the paramis for one incalculable and 1 lakh eons. And it is here that Pachek Buddhas arise after having fulfilled the paramis for 2 incalculables and 1 lakh eons. And it is here that perfectly enlightened Buddhas arise after having fulfilled the paramis for 4, 8, or 16 incalculables and 1 lakh eons. It is there that beings receive the exhortation from a wheel-turning monarch, become established in the 5 precepts, and become destined for heaven. And so too when they are established in the exhortation of Pachek Buddhas. But when they are established in the exhortation of a fully enlightened Buddha and his disciples, they become destined for heaven and Nibbana. Therefore, residing there, which is the condition for this type of excellence, is called a blessing. So this is about Patiropadesa Vasocha, living in a suitable region. Now, what is the explanation of Pubbecha Kata Punyata? Having made merit in the past. Merit done in the past is a term for wholesomeness accumulated in a past birth on account of Buddhas, Pachek Buddhas and Arhas. That too is a blessing. Why? Having come into the presence of Buddhas and Pachek Buddhas, or heard a 4-line verse in person from the Buddhas or a Buddha's disciples, one attains arhatship at the conclusion of the verse. And a human being who has established a foundation in the past and abounds in wholesome roots may, by reason of that some wholesome root, generate insight and attain the destruction of the influxes, the king Mahakappina and his chief queen. Hence it is said, merit done in the past is a blessing. And what is the third verse? Atta samma panidhicha, directing oneself rightly. So when Goenkaji translates this, Atta samma panidhicha, he translates it at 4 right efforts. Okay. There are in Sanskrit, it is called Samyak Pranidhan. So there are 4 types of Samyak Pranidhan. So what are the 4 types of Samyak Pranidhans? One is to remove whatever is bad in you. Second is not to allow whatever is bad is not in you. Whatever bad thing is not in you, don't allow that to enter you. Third is to protect whatever good is in you. And fourth is, if there is something which are good or not in you, cultivate those good things. So these are four right efforts. So the Sammapani teacher is described like this by Goenkaji. So what does commentary says about this? Here someone who has been immoral establishes himself in virtuous behavior. One who has lacked faith establishes himself in faith. One who has been miserly establishes himself in generosity. This is called directing oneself rightly. So, from turning from good, bad to good. And this is a blessing. Why? Because it is a cause for abandoning the enmity pertaining to the present life and future lives and for achieving various benefit. Thus, three blessings have been stated by this verse. 2. Residing in a suitable place, merit done in the past, and directing oneself rightly. Patirupadesavasocha, Ubbechakata punyata, Atta Sammapanidecha. This is the highest blessing. The way in which they are blessings has already been elucidated for each. The commentary on the meaning of this verse, residing in a suitable place, is now finished. So I think we'll stop here, and next Wednesday we'll continue with remaining verses. So this was the commentary on the Mangala Sutta. Do you have any questions? If there are no questions, we can go for sharing minutes. Sindhu, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can share minutes now.
Okay. May suffering ones be suffering free and fear stuck, fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu. So we'll continue this Sutta next Wednesday. Okay.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thanks for
Thank
joining.